These are rolling, so over to you guys.
Yes, guys, welcome to episode 3 of GX Podcast, Say It How It Is. I'm your host, Nyla.
And I'm Shanice.
And last week we had an amazing show.
Really
we were talking about COVID-19 and how it is affecting our young people, being off school, being home, struggling.
We had a sick guest last week. We had Sienna. She came on and she spoke. She was great. She told us about some cool ways to, look after ourselves and be considerate to others. During this time, which is cool.
Yeah, she was brilliant. Like, she was so motivational. And so if you didn't catch our episode 2 of COVID-19 in education with Sienna, then make sure you go check it out on our YouTube. So yeah, episode 3.
Episode 3. 3 is my favourite number. It's going to be a good one.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Why?
You didn't see the 2?
Ah, 3.
So you
Cool.
look at that,
I don't like odd
numbers.
numbers.
I think 3 is just a good number. It's like 3 is a crowd, and a crowd is always a good time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
I guess
crowds
so.
anymore. No COVID.
No social distance, people. No crowds. But yes, so today we are talking about something else that's really important to us, and I'm sure a lot of people out there find it really important too. And this is why we're talking about it, because you guys have mentioned it, we've discussed it, and we're bringing you this topic to hear your thoughts and your feelings on our podcast. Say it how it is.
I'm personally very excited. This topic I think it's one of my favourites.
Yeah.
One of my favourite things to delve into.
Well, GXpressions being a predominantly black organisation, this is really important to us. We're strong black women and we are proud. And today we have a strong black male joining us on the show to talk about his thoughts and his feelings on all the events of last year, the marches that took place in Newport, and everything really that went on. This has been going on for a long time. Things have been affecting society, and it's been discrimination, racism, so many things that we could probably discuss. We're going to try and narrow it down a bit, I think.
Keep it short. We won't be here too long.
No, because we could probably be here forever.
At least a good 2 months, I think. But we're also going to talk about how we think we can change that, and the positives that come from us coming together in solidarity, and the things we've learned from this experience. Yeah,
definitely. But before we introduce today's guest, Newport News, guys.
Oh, yes.
Newport News is something that we like to offer for you guys to write in and tell us positive things going on in your life. Things that we can share, and I've got a couple. So
I think I've got one.
we just want to do a shout out to Imi and Owen, who's been doing really well on their university work, online learning. Imi had a first on her assignment. Smashing it. That's sick. Love education, and be proud of yourself, guys. There's really hard times and you're learning online and you're getting a first.
Yes. Big up to all my uni peoples, because uni is hard right now. Online is we heard last week hard.
Yes.
Okay, I got James. James got reader pick featured in the South Wales Argus.
Sick.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Yeah. So if you want to check out South Wales Argus, look for James reader's pick.
Yeah, go to their Facebook page. Have a look.
Or online, I don't know. How does South Wales Argus? They got a website and they got Facebook. I'm sure they got Twitter.
They used to have like an actual Argus. Do you remember the actual paper?
They still do.
They still have those.
Yeah.
I think I don't know where you'd get it from. On the bus.
The shop. You'd get the Argus from the shop. They still sell them.
In the shop.
In all shops, yeah.
You learn something new every day.
Yes, so check that out, guys. Okay.
Go to the shop if you want to see it.
Go to the shop. Go online. But we're gonna jump right in now.
Yes.
We're gonna introduce our guest. He is a big part of GXpressions. He's been with us for a long time. He does a lot of work for us. He's also on his own personal journey. So I want to introduce the one and only Mr. Leontay. Leontay, young Tay. Hey! So tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I'm 15. I live in Newport, obviously. I've been doing, I've been a part of GXpressions for about 7 to 8 years. I started off as dancing, and now I'm just a part of the production side of things now. And yeah.
Cool. Well, welcome to the show.
It's nice to have you.
Yeah, it's good to have you. So, what we like to do is play some games and have a bit of fun. So you up for playing a game before we jump into our serious topic of the day?
Yes, we're gonna get your brain whirring, get warmed up.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, so this is a bit of a trivia, okay? So we're talking about black people in history, famous black people.
Yeah.
We're going to ask you some questions and see how many you can get right. Are you ready?
Yeah.
No Googling,
Okay.
Mike.
Yeah, hands on your head.
Okay, do you want to go first? Ask it?
Yes.
Cool.
Okay, now we're going to start you off nice and easy, Tay. Something I think you know. I think you might have a little clue. Do you know the first African American to star in her own TV show? I'll give you a hint. It was in 1939. I know how you love them period shows.
I think I was still swimming then.
I think we all went.
Can I pass that? Because I wasn't even born.
We should have made forfeits.
Yeah, we should
You
have.
got lucky.
Okay, so the answer was Ethel Walters. She was a blues singer and then went on to do her own TV show.
Yes.
So there's that. Okay, so who is Maria P. Williams?
First of all, guess.
Look at his face.
Dancer.
Cancel. Did you say cancel?
No, I said, was she a dancer?
Ah, do you know what? Close. She was in the arts, I'll give you that. She was known as the first black woman to produce, write and act in her very own movie in 1923. What was the name of the movie?
The movie The Flames of Wrath.
Flames of Wrath. Go watch it.
Yeah, that's what I want to watch.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Question 3. I was going to try to say it in Welsh. What's 3 in Welsh? Tree.
Tree.
Question 3. I'll get better with that one. What is Paul Stevenson famous for?
Pardon?
What is Paul Stevenson famous for?
Paul Stevens. Was he a protester?
Ooh.
Do you
I used to do
know?
my research.
So good,
Do
Tay.
you know what? Yeah, we'll give you that. Because, should we give you the answer? I feel like.
Yeah, give it to him, please.
The first black social worker in the UK. Okay, so he was the first black social worker in the UK, and he spent his life leading campaigns that have made big changes in how black people are treated, and he had a big part in the first Race Relations Act in 1965.
Oh.
Sick.
Yes.
And I just want to say, when we were looking into Paul Stevenson, there was a really good quote that I just want to put out there. He said, "Every generation has a duty to fight against racism. It will find its way into our country and into our homes. Addressing this challenge is our duty if we wish to speak a happy and prosperous existence." Big. So yeah.
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 Okay,
Good
so
stuff.
I think we're going to try and get a little bit easier now. So next question is, who is one of the most well-known presenters in the UK?
In the UK.
One of the most well-known presenters.
Ollie Willoughby.
Oh, gee,
I know.
do you know what? Yeah, you got that one.
It just literally, as soon as I said it, I was like, who's done?
Do you know when we give him the answer, he's going to go, yeah.
I don't know, because I don't know if you'll get it, because I wouldn't have got this take. Like, only recently I know this information. I feel like the generation above
Has he been on?
us
Is the person been on X Factor?
No. No, he hasn't.
Presented on.
No, he hasn't presented on X Factor. Do you want to know the answer?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so one of the most well-known presenters in the UK is Sir Trevor McDonald. Sir Trevor MacDonald, in 1999, he received a knighthood from the Queen for his work. He was born in Trinidad, but came to the UK in the 1960s. Do you know Sir Trevor MacDonald? I think you would. If you've seen a picture of him.
I've probably seen him, but I'm not good with like people and names. And, yeah.
Okay. Alright, you're gonna pass it to Shanice.
Right, next question. This time I've got a quote for you, and now you've got to try and tell me who you think said this quote. Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
It's been an honour to be the standard bearer for boxing in the last decade. Let the new era begin.
Muhammad Ali.
No.
That's a good guess. Good guess.
Can you think of another one? He knew straight away it was a boxer, obviously.
Yeah.
That's a good sign.
Right. If you've got no more guesses, it is Lennox Lewis, who's he's the most successful.
I was saying, ooh, like I know who it is. But
Okay.
I don't know who he is, but I think I've heard of his name.
Yeah, he was the most successful sportsman of his time, and he retired in 2004. Okay, got another one for you. Who is famous for these words? I have a dream.
Martin Luther King Jr.
Well done! Yes, definitely. I would have been mad if you didn't get that one.
Yeah.
I would have said
The accent gave it all away.
I thought it was a trick question because there's there's Martin Luther King and then there's Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah, no, Martin Luther King Jr. said the speech, I have a dream, and he was the youngest person to receive a Nobel Prize as well in 1964.
Smart. Right. Okay. The next question. President Obama was the first African American to serve in the United States. What number president was he?
47.
Ooh,
That's close.
That was so close. No, we haven't hit 47 yet. He was 44th.
He served from...
I knew he was in the 40s.
Yeah.
He was in office from 2009 to 2017.
17. Yeah.
2017.
Yeah, he done 2 consecutive runs.
Gosh.
Smashing it. Okay, so who created and starred in their own hit TV show at the age of 21?
In their own TV show.
They created and starred in their own TV show at the age of 21. I want to give him a clue.
We should tell him maybe. How about it was aired
Just
in
do what film it is.
1990?
You should tell me what film it is.
It was a TV show. He started his first TV show in 1990 at the age of 21.
Is his name Steve? Is it Steve?
No, it's not Steve.
That's a good guess.
No, I was thinking of the bald guy with the mustache.
Steve Harvey.
I forgot the next buzz. That's what we got. No? Right, go on. Nyla, give us the answer before we all
The
burn
answer
out.
was Will Smith. He starred in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air at the age of 21 in 1990. And it was a hit TV series. Yeah.
Okay, we've got another one for you now. Another film related one. Let's see if you get this one. Who created... Oh, no.
No.
Who was the star of... Who was the star of the movie in 1996, Space Jam?
Michael Jordan.
Yes!
Yes!
I love that film.
Yeah, Michael Jordan was known for playing basketball for the Chicago Bulls. He played from 1984 to 2004.
That is a hefty career.
Yeah, it is. Okay, you ready for the next one? We've only got 3 more for you. Alright?
Yeah.
What was Stormzy's first single?
Ooh, his first single. Was it Shut Up?
Yes! Yes, it was shut up. It was shut up. It was released.
Arguably the best single ever.
Blew up that video.
Yeah, it was released off an EP in 2015 and went straight to #1.
Ooh. Okay, this one's a little bit harder. Maya Angelou hailed as global Renaissance woman for what? For what reason? Have you heard of Maya Angelou?
Yeah, I've heard of it, but I don't.
It's good you've heard of it.
You know, as soon as you tell me, I'm gonna know exactly what you're on about.
Should we give you the answer?
Yes, please.
No problem. She was a best-selling author, educator, and activist, and she used her poetry to inspire and empower people.
Yeah, man. She sadly passed away though in 2014 at the age of 86. Okay, final question, and then we're going to move on to our topic, okay? You ready? Yeah? Got your brain switched on? Okay. Can you name a person who has gained many qualifications, under the age of 18, is known for being an actor, dancer, and influential rapper?
How do I say that again?
Can you name this person, they've gained many qualifications, they're under the age of 18, they're known for acting, dancing, and being an influential rapper?
Under the age of 18?
Yeah. They've gained loads of qualifications, they do rapping,
Yeah,
they
big
dance,
rapper.
they act. Can you think of anyone? Anyone you might know? It's a bit close to home, I think.
Close to home?
Close to home, you know.
Oh, fully. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, come on. Put Mummy's misery.
Should we put you out your misery?
The answer is Leontay.
The answer is you, Tay.
You just gotta own it.
Yeah, man. You are full of talent. Act, you dance, you rap, you know.
You know what? The first thing I was gonna say is me, you know. I was gonna say me.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
Well, you gotta say it how it is, Tay.
Say it how it is. Don't be too proud to say it, yeah, because you're doing good. You've gained so many qualifications and you're on a really good journey and you are an inspiration. So, well done you. Cool, so we're going to dive straight into our topic of the day. So, I'm going to hand over to Shanice and Leontay in a minute.
Yes. Right, well, I know we all have opinions and feelings and we all experience it differently. The killing of George Floyd and then what that sparked, the protests and everything that came after. So I really want to know how you felt at the time. Last May, when all of this started, how did that make you feel, Tim?
Like I'm not saying that I'm glad that George Floyd got killed because this shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have been a thing. But at the same time, I'm kind of glad that situation sparked a plug in everyone around me, like all the black people around me, because before this Black Lives Matter movement, nothing black people were just getting killed for no reason and nothing was being said on it. But as soon, I'm bringing back a few years ago when someone killed a police officer and it was a big thing. It was a big thing for years, and it's died down now. No one really cares now. But if a police officer killed a black person, no one really cares. But yeah, I'm kind of glad it happened. So everyone kind of got together and was like, yo, this is real, it's really happening. Yeah. And now that this is only one situation that's been the light's been shone on. Because I don't know. my head's just getting fried.
No, that's really good.
Just thinking about it.
Yeah. So just like you just said, you're getting fried just thinking about it. So your feelings on this topic, you obviously as a young black boy, you hold strong feelings about it. Tell us a little bit more about how you feel. If you wouldn't mind.
Well, pardon, say that again because I didn't.
Sorry, just tell us a little bit more, if you wouldn't mind, on how you feel. You know, this topic is obviously something that's strong for you, so.
Yeah, of course, because this shouldn't be happening. Like, no one should be getting killed by police. I mean, like, this here is police brutality. Police feel that they can do anything in the world and get away with it. And they have been for a certain amount of time, but now it's coming to an end. Because people are actually realising that this is real and people are actually dying through police.
Okay.
Because no one really got. Police don't get arrested. Well, police didn't usually really get arrested for killing someone because they're police. Well, if we started going out there and killing police, I'm telling you, it would be a different story. It boils my blood thinking about what happened. Just seeing that video, it's nuts. It's all mad. Yeah.
No, definitely. I think it stirred up a lot of emotion in a lot of us, and I think when we're talking about especially police brutality, and we're looking at America, I think sometimes it can be hard for us living here in Newport, living in Wales, and where say the police aren't openly killing us on camera in the street, although we have situations now in Newport, in South Wales, where there is police brutality issues. But do you think that it's hard for us, even though we don't have those issues here, just seeing them online? Do you think that affects you as a young black man in Newport?
Yeah, of course it does, because that to give police officers an influence of, oh, maybe I could do that down here and get away with it. And it just like makes me more wary around police, especially what's just happened in Cardiff with this is it Mahmood? I think it's Mahmood. RIP to him. What's just this here is what they're trying to do what they're doing up there down here, and we need everyone to wake up and just stand up for themselves, because people weren't standing up for themselves back then, and everyone's starting to wake up now. So I'm glad about that.
Yeah, that's good. And when we're talking about standing up, obviously we had the protests. There was worldwide protests everywhere, and we had one in Newport. Did you come to the protest?
Yeah, I was there.
Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, I reckon at least half of Newport was there at the match.
Yes.
Like it was a big match, and I thank everybody for coming out and supporting it. And I'm glad that everyone was there. And yeah, just stand up.
That's good. Now, I want to throw this question over to you because it's something that's come up in the past. Obviously, you just discussed then about police brutality and the killing of black people, and I'm not sure if it happens, on our doorstep, but it is known and it is talked about. What do you think about black on black crime? Like, how do you feel about black people killing each other?
Well, that day shouldn't be happening, full stop. People shouldn't be killing, full stop.
Yeah.
Whether you've done something or not. Like there's always justice for, but you don't feel justice for killing someone else and taking someone else's life.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't happen at all. Whether you're white, black, Asian, anything, it should not happen whatsoever. People shouldn't be killing someone else because they looked at someone the wrong way, or they said something, or they did something. Nothing justifies killing someone. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Tay. It's cool.
No, that's cool because obviously with what we see, Tay, you like rapping. We know we've heard your tracks, The Fire, and I've heard so many come to mind. Gets he talks about how, when we're rapping, we're talking about killing our ops. And in the same breath, we're saying Black Lives Matter, and those two things can't work together because the Black lives here, even if they're in the opposite gang or whatever, it's the same. And I think that, how do you feel about that as someone who obviously is into rap and listens to it, and enjoys it.
Yeah. Obviously, with the music side of things, I rate what people are doing, but you shouldn't be promoting killing someone. Like even if you jump on a song, say for instance me, I could never ever in a million years jump on a beat and say, yeah, I stabbed him up or I killed him or I done this or done that. Because that's not music.
Yeah.
It's not music talking about who you've killed and what you've done and trapping and all of this. It's not good. So this is what people shouldn't be talking about things like that on a song.
Yeah.
Obviously, I understand that people live around it and they're talking about what they live in, but like there's other as soon as you jump onto a music, you instantly become a role model to others. So, say if I started talking about killing people, there's going to be youngers and looking up to me and think, oh, that's cool, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't happen.
Definitely. You've got a track, I know that, I don't know if you released it a while ago now, called Stereotype Me. Yeah?
Yeah.
Can you talk us through the thoughts behind that, the process of that track?
Basically, that song there, that was one of my first songs I ever wrote, but basically that was just the story out behind that was don't judge a book by its cover. Like say police could see me dressed in a certain way and come and stop check me because I'm dressed a certain way, or I'm a certain colour, or I'm doing I'm not doing something that they could. Say I could be walking on the street dressed in all black and police could stop me because they think I'm doing something. That shouldn't happen. Like yeah, I get you're doing your job, but you shouldn't be obligated to check someone because they're dressed in a certain manner.
Yeah.
Because I know full well if I was wearing a suit walking to the shop, I would not get stopped by police. I know that full well. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that one. That's all.
That's cool. I've a couple of times you've mentioned like obviously the police, and we have lots of police stations in and around Newport. There is a police presence, and I think that was especially noticed around the time of the marches, after the marches, because we were also we saw it, like we could see it, and it was relevant. So what do you think as a young black man, what do you think about the police in Newport especially? Do you think that you need to what do you think?
Just let me be honest about police. I personally don't like police just because of what I see police doing. But I can't sit here and say all police are the same, all police are racist, all police beat people up, because they don't. There are some police officers that stick to their job and stick to the rules of the book, but there's obviously other police officers who think just because they wear a vest that they're higher up than you and they can boss you around and they can tell you what to do and tell you where to go, and they should, that can't run. It shouldn't be allowed. They should do daily checks and weekly checks on police, and obviously the police cameras should be on 24/7 with sound.
Yeah.
Because it's only where they can control them. They shouldn't be able to control the little cameras on their chest, because they can easily turn it off and then start saying something, and then turn it on to manipulate whoever's watching the video.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I'm kind of going off topic, but
no, you're not. So I just wanted to jump in then and just ask you. So, from your perspective, and obviously your opinions do matter to us, what do you think that the police should do or should be doing to get young people like yourself, engaging with them and having that respect for each other? What do you think needs to happen?
Me personally, ideas popped into my head. They should do workshops with police officers and teenagers, just so they can see what certain, they should do a different police officer each week from that area. You know what I mean? So, say 1 week, say if you was in the Pill Millennium Centre, and they do a workshop with one police officer, And now the next week comes, they do a different police officer that's from that area. So then the teenagers are back from that area, or the teenagers that go there build kind of not a relationship with the police officer, but they kind of get where police officers come from, and they do lectures with the police officers and talk here and just certain things like that.
That's really
that's
good.
what I think should happen anyway.
Yeah,
That'll be a good
that's good.
No, that's really good. I think you clearly have some really great ideas and you have a lot to say, but I think, how do you feel that you can channel that? Do you think you have opportunities to get that across?
Pardon?
Do you feel as though you have like the opportunity in you, but do you feel empowered? Do you feel that you know where to go to talk about these things, to say these things and get them heard?
To be honest with you, unless a Black Lives Matter, the march is happening, there's no other real opportunities to get my message out there. Unless I'm sending letters to them all day, every single day, and I don't think anything's going to be done just from me, one person.
Okay.
You don't really get loads of opportunities to speak out on things like that. This is why I'm trying to get my message across with my music. But you don't need to do these things, and police need to fix up and stop acting the way like they act in some of them anyway. Yeah.
Cool. So, Tay, you are a young rising artist making music. How do you plan to make a difference through your music?
Just putting a positive message out there, and any opportunities I get to talk out, I will talk out. Hence why I'm on this podcast now, because this here could go every week. Just from this little podcast could go viral, and people then would hear what I have to say, and hopefully think about it and take it into their life. And
Yeah, and that's why GX Podcast Say How It Is. It was created for you to come on and talk about what you want to say. And we're glad that we can have people like you who are doing great things across Newport. You are talented, you're inspiring. Keep going, Tay. We're really proud of you as an organisation, and I hope that you're proud of yourself.
Thank you.
Do you have any last words?
Not
Any last things you want to say?
Follow my Instagram.
He's got a plug.
And just before you go, there's something that we do on our podcast every week. So
yes, every week we have a Say It How It Is hashtag. So you guys at home can interact with this conversation, and if any of you want to talk about and comment on what Tay said, then get involved that way. So Tay, over to you. I'll say how it is for this week.
This week's hashtag should be #GXitaffectsus.
#GXitaffectsus. You heard it here first, guys. So when this episode airs, you will see the hashtag underneath, and if you want to talk and discuss anything that Leontay has talked about, then just do the hashtag. We'll pick it up, guys, and we'll contact you. You contact us. Thanks again, Tay. Loved having you. We'll see you soon. Take care of yourself.
Bye.
Bye. So guys, thank you for listening in on this week's episode. If there's anything that you want to know more about, that you want to talk about, don't be afraid to message us on our social media accounts. But before we go, we're going to do our last thing of the episode, which we love. Is all about you, all about talented people. And we've had some people writing into us telling us about their talents. And this part of the episode is Artist of the Week. And this week we're giving it out to somebody who I think they've been in the game for a long time now. And they've been dropping music left, right and centre. So Artist of the Week is... It's Brighty. Yes, it's Brighty. So check him out in the link. We'll
drop a link to his new song, Level Up.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for joining us, guys. We have loved having our guest speaker and talking about new topics. And don't forget to check them out. Follow us on all our social platforms, and we will see you again on our next episode. Peace.